I go live with my students every week for a Q&A. And last week, one of my students asked a simple question. What is the difference between major and minor chords? So that's exactly what I'm going to answer in this video. If you're new here, I am Jacques Hopkins, creator of Piano in 21 Days, where we help regular people learn to play their favorite songs on the piano in as little time as possible. So if that sounds good to you, consider hitting that subscribe button below and giving this video a thumbs up. Okay, so major versus minor chords. We have to start by making sure we understand what a chord itself is. So simply put, a chord is just multiple notes played at the same time. Let's look at a couple of examples here. This is a chord, multiple notes played at the same time. This is a G major chord. Over here we have, this is a D sharp minor chord. Right here we have, that's an A suspended chord. Right here, that's a C7 chord. Those are all different types of chords because they're multiple notes played at the same time. By the way, if this concept of chords is new for you, I have plenty of other videos on my channel going into more detail, so feel free to check that out and come back to this video when you're ready. So chords are really powerful because they are the building blocks of songs. And let's be honest, playing piano is all about playing songs, no matter how many times your childhood piano teacher had you drill those beloved scales. And there's actually 27 different types of chords on the piano, most of which you will probably never use, but two types that you will definitely use all the time are major chords and minor chords. Major chords are the most commonly used type of chord in popular music, and minor chords are the second most commonly used. But what's the difference between them? Put simply, major chords are the ones that sound happy and cheery. For example, here is a C major chord. And minor chords, well, they're the ones that sound more sad, more dreary. For example, here's a C minor chord. To demonstrate this even better, let me take a song that most people would consider and agree is very happy and uplifting. It's Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. As you could imagine, Sweet Caroline is built with mostly major chords. Let me demonstrate the chorus of that song for you as it is written with those major chords. Hopefully you could recognize that song and its overall pretty happy nature. But what would happen if we experimented a little bit and we took every major chord in that chorus and changed it to its relative minor chord? Let's see what would happen. So hopefully you could hear that it completely changes the song's tone to very just bleak and ominous. By the way, every major key and chord has a relative minor key and chord. The reason they are related is because their keys share the same 7 notes. And if you're confused when I say the word key, I'll explain a little. Knowing what key a song is in tells us many characteristics of how that song is going to be played, and the most important characteristic the key tells us is what notes can be used in that song. For this reason, you will find that many major chords and their relative minor chord are played together in songs. the easiest way to find the relative minor chord is to go down 3 notes, go to the left 3 notes from the first note of the major chord. So C major's relative minor is A minor, F major's relative minor is D minor, and so on. So this was a very exaggerated example where I took all the chords of a song and changed them to minor. But most songs have both major and minor chords in them. So you may be thinking at this point, but Jacques, why wouldn't we just always use major chords? Don't we always want to be happy? Minor chords, they just sound so sad and moody. Well, music is not about always being happy. That's only one of many emotions. Music is meant to convey an array of emotions. It's meant to take us on an adventure. It's meant to sometimes have tension and sometimes not have tension. Let's take a basic 4-chord song in the key of C major. Every time we're at C major, we're comfortable and happy. But the further we get away from home, the more interesting things can get. But the more tension also rises and the more we want to get back home. And minor chords add even more to this tension. So here we go with a hypothetical song that starts in C with a C major chord. That's our home chord, all right? So we're jamming out on our C major. Then if it's the most popular progression of all time, the 4-chord song, then we go to a G major. All right, it's not home, but it still sounds pretty happy, pretty good. We're getting a little away. We're getting a little bit of adventure. Then we go to an A minor chord. Oof, you hear that tension? It's like, it sounds good, but it also sounds like something's happening. And now we even more than before want to kind of make our way back home, all right? So we're at this A minor. We're not gonna go straight back to C, to the home chord. We're gonna go to F major, which sounds a lot better than the A minor. We're starting to pick back up. We're encouraged about getting all the way back to home. We're kind of almost there. F major. There's that resolution of getting back to home. So let me do that one more time. C major, G major, A minor. Hear that tension? So most songs don't have just major chords. They kind of have a combination of major and minor chords for that reason. And there's even other types of chords, but those are the 2 most commonly used types. And a song could actually have a home chord that is a minor chord, where home is still somewhat comfortable, but it's not quite as happy. And that's just the tone that particular song and that songwriter was going for. So let's do another example here. House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. Many of you may be familiar with that. It has a home chord of A minor. And now that doesn't mean all chords in the song are minor. In fact, they're still mostly major chords in that song. But that song is about a person's life gone wrong in the city of New Orleans and warning others to not make the same mistakes. So the song itself is not meant to be this super happy song all the time. In fact, you could argue that they chose a minor chord for the home chord of this song to represent kind of the bad times in New Orleans and possibly happy times away from that home. So let me demonstrate here. So this song starts with our A minor and quickly goes to major chords. Keeps coming back to that A minor though. So you can hear the difference in just the overall tone with this song compared to something like Sweet Caroline. So if I could just sum all this up, major chords are the ones that sound happy and minor chords are the ones that sound more moody, more sad. But most songs have both in order to convey certain emotions and tones. If you enjoyed this video, there are plenty more on this channel with just simple piano instruction, but there's even more over at pianoin21days.com. I've actually got some free resources waiting just for you. So go ahead and click the link on this page, and I look forward to being your piano teacher.